Okay, here's my response for the play Good Kids. The first question is what was memorable? And what I enjoyed was the part when they addressed the phrase good kids. Because they were kind of like, oh, we're all good kids, but actually, like, we do a bunch of bad things. So, what does that really mean? I feel like it's just kind of a filler phrase or something that people say. It doesn't really speak about anyone's character at all. And it's just kind of like a relative thing to say. Question 2 is 3 themes. The first theme was social media, I was thinking, just because that's how the case is like made. There wouldn't even be one really without it, especially because Chloe doesn't like remember what happens to her. So without social media, there would be nothing to really base the play off of. And then second theme was identity, and that is from like their high school students, and that's a pretty big theme in high school. Is like, who am I? What is my like identity? And you can kind of see that in the parking lot scene between Chloe and Daphne, when Daphne like kind of calls her a slut, and Chloe's like, oh, like what does that mean? Like, am I? Whatever, are you calling me that? And then later she's like called a bitch, and I don't know, she kind of reacts similarly there. Then a third theme was revenge, with Deirdre. She like wants revenge on the people that like wrecked the car that she was in, like that caused her to be in a wheelchair. And so she's kind of like, well, I'm here to like get revenge on all the bad guys, which I really like because I really think that I don't know, I like it when the bad guys get what's coming to them, basically. Question 3, like differences between Good Kids and Intimate Apparel, with like the plot. So one of those was like kind of rewind in time, in Good Kids, and we'll like see like a scene, and we'll like find out what happens in the scene, and then Deirdre kind of like is like pause, rewind, and then we go back, and actually get background info, which is pretty different from Intimate Apparel, which is like a very, I don't know, like sequential play. And then, yeah, kind of going along with that, it's non-linear. We have to put the pieces together, which I think it makes it more dramatic, kind of. So we're like, oh, okay, we like form opinions on like something or whatever, and then we get more info, and we're like, oh, okay. So it's kind of like a more informed opinion, I guess. And then a third thing was, breaking the fourth wall. Intimate Apparel doesn't do that at all that I remember. But this is like, I don't know, like a good chunk of it is breaking the fourth wall. Like Deirdre always, like when she's talking, I mean, she kind of like talks to the characters, but she also is like always talking to us in her narration. And the characters do that too when they're kind of like giving their defense, for like, oh, well, I am a good kid, like blah, blah, blah. They're breaking the fourth wall too, which is very different from Intimate Apparel. And then the fourth question was kind of like the reinforce, reinvent, resist. And so I was thinking this kind of like reinforces stereotypes. Like it challenges them, but it also reinforces a stereotype that like it's okay for guys to enjoy sex and like have that with a bunch of different partners, but when a girl does it, like she's a slut. And we see that with Chloe and how, like in the beginning, like in the scene when Daphne kind of calls her a slut, she's like, oh, like what is that, like 5, 10, 20, whatever. It's kind of questioned, I guess. And then with the people that like kind of blame her, like, oh, well, she was asking for it. Like, well, no, she wasn't. She was not asking to be raped. So I guess that kind of like plays on reinforcing stereotypes. And then, yeah, I thought it was kind of reinventing, like, it's not her fault. When she's like, this can happen to you and this could happen to you. And she like kind of stands up and like says that to all of the girls. Yeah, that's my response.